Hey guys, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host, Honest Dan. No, I don't feel like taking these out right now, but let's talk movies.
Relax, be cool, cause if you don't, you'll act like a fool, so be cool.
In commemoration of the upcoming sequel, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I'm taking a look back on the franchise that came before. Already got my review out for the first Ghostbusters. Now it's time for the sequel. This is quite a strange one, isn't it? I've seen more than a few worst lists of bad sequels on the internet. But as much as people say that this one is inferior to the original, I don't often see Ghostbusters 2 on those worst lists. I have seen this before and remember it falling short, but more forgettable than anything. Were I to hazard a guess, I would say that yes, this isn't as beloved as the first one, but when stacked against the likes of, say, Son of the Mask, Speed 2, or now Wonder Woman 1984, it's not quite the kind of sequel that completely junks its own drawers. It's simply not as good as the first one. But now that I've seen it again, what do I think? This is my honest opinion of Ghostbusters 2. Set 5 years after the events of the first film, the Ghostbusters have mostly disbanded and fallen on hard times doing work that they otherwise don't really want to do. However, when Dana Barrett, reprised by Sigourney Weaver, suspects that her baby Oscar, played by William T. Deutschendorf, and the late Henry J. Deutschendorf II, may be under the influence of something paranormal and brings him to the guys. After some literal digging, they find a river of slime under the city, and unbeknownst to the Ghostbusters, is bringing back to life an ancient evil mage known as Vigo the Carpathian. And he intends to be reborn in Baby Oscar.
There's something strange in the neighborhood. Who you gonna call? And it don't look good. Let's go get a beer.
Here's what I think. You're at a comedy club. The first movie is like this comedian who's really funny, got some knee-slapping jokes, life of the party, big personality, everyone loves him. This movie is like a comedian who almost starts off like he has stage fright, isn't as charming as the previous guy, but has just enough to pull himself through and not be a complete waste of time. The first act is far and away the hardest to get through, because we start with an age-old bad comedy routine, where a mother forgets that she has a child somehow, the carriage rolls away into oncoming traffic, but somehow manages to miss every single car that it comes across. This is a tired trope even in cartoons. You better believe that it's hard to watch this when you have writers that seem to have a better grasp of what true humor is. Bill Murray may be a living legend in Hollywood, but I gotta say, his baby talk to Oscar is not charming in the slightest.
Help! He's gone completely berserk! Help! Help!
Uh-oh.
Honestly, Venkman's attraction to Dana wore thin. Don't get me wrong, Sigourney's a bombshell, but does she have to be every man's object of desire? Does every villain have to go after her as Venkman is hitting on her too?
I need to feel loved. I need to be desired.
It was when you started introducing me as the old ball and chain. That's when I left.
And if that statement is anything to go by, it sounds like she's better off without him, and he's not mature enough to be in a relationship with anyone, least of all with a now single mother. And I know that a lot of people love Neil McNichol as Janusz, but man, I didn't. I just felt like his comedy was too try-hard. He comes across as a dude who's trying to be a creep rather than being a legit creeper. He doesn't achieve the same levels as Rick Moranis did with Lewis.
Do I have a bad breath or something?
Of course not.
All right. Well, I'll give you a rain check.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me. It's too cartoonish. I don't buy into the time lapse in the aftermath. Really, 5 years later and the Ghostbusters aren't celebrated heroes? They're has-beens?
Well, some people have trouble believing in the paranormal.
No, he just says you guys are full of crap and that's why you went out of business.
To make things even stranger, there's a court scene where the judge says that the court doesn't recognize the existence of ghosts and that he doesn't believe in them either.
Law does not recognize the existence of ghosts. I don't believe in them either.
Sorry, what? In 5 years, the existence of ghosts as seen by millions of people in New York, which should have shaken the very foundation of natural science as we know it, and this jerk doesn't believe in them? Are you kidding me? There's documented proof in this universe. What are you talking about?
This is so fucking stupid.
And Vigo the villain is not that intimidating. I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that he's front and center, that he's active in the world around him, unlike seemingly Gozer. His appearance isn't saved for the final act. I mean, it kind of is, but not in the same way. Still, even with that in mind, I feel like it's a missed opportunity. I would have loved to see some kind of rivalry build between him and the Ghostbusters. Or at the very least, be something other than a generic baddie who's hell-bent on destroying the world. If that's even what his motivations are. Honestly, I think I missed that. I don't know what his ultimate motivations are, other than be reborn in baby Oscar.
What was will be, what is will be no more. Now is the season of evil.
But I don't want to spend this entire review harping on the movie. There are actually a few elements that I did really like. For one thing, I don't remember laughing out loud this much compared to the first one. I know, I said in that review that I prefer charm over actual laughter, but it's still kind of nice to know that I can laugh in a comedy.
You mean you never even had a slinky?
We had part of a slinky, but I straightened it.
You're not with Con Ed or the phone company. We checked. So tell me another one.
I got a major gas leak here. Where do you think all this is coming from? The sky?
That one still gets me. Just staying in character and going for it. And for all its faults in the writing, there is some retention of the charm from the previous flick. There's still a beating heart.
We put a warning label on it. We don't have any liability.
Ah! Ow! Ow! How did you ever go for it? The old man-eating toaster.
I love moments like that. It's so human and relatable, and I don't recall that many being in the first one. So I guess in this regard, of the few things this movie improves on, is the relationship between the guys. Rick Moranis doesn't lose his touch. How could he? He's Rick Moranis.
You have any questions for this witness? Might have some bearing on this case.
Do I?
No, we've helped them out enough already.
And I kind of enjoyed the relationship he had going with Janine, reprised by Annie Potts.
Oh, Dana, we were just babysitting, honest, and we watched some TV, and we had something to eat, and then one thing led to another. And
That's all right. I know what you're doing.
I didn't know anything was going to happen, really.
Something about it just seems so right. The ghost designs are still pretty good, and I think some of them actually look better than the original. And as brief as it was, the Statue of Liberty scene in the climax was pretty awesome.
I love you when you raffle! Hit mama! Drop the hammer on her! Do it!
I don't think it's that bad. I understand why Die-Hard fans don't exactly look at this with awe. I think that haters make it out to be far worse than it actually is. There are elements that I like, there are elements that I don't, so it's a mixed bag. Do I recommend checking it out? Well, between this and the 2016 reboot, this might as well be Godfather Part 2. Temper your expectations, but I do think it's worth seeing. My honest rating for Ghostbusters 2, a 3 out of 5.
Ghostbusters. Yes, we're back.
Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy out there. Hope to see you soon.